We are live here on Fireside Yankees. It is January 13th. My name is Ryan Garcia. This is Fireside Yankees. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. It supports the page, and we'd really appreciate your support here on the channel. We really are excited to get into tonight's content. We've got a good bit to talk about. And before we get into everything again, if you guys are here, if you're watching, let's get a Let's Go Yankees going here. We'll shout everybody out. We got a super chat already from Brian Bashman. Why isn't there any talk about Luis Rengifo? He checks a lot of boxes. Coming off an injury-prone year, doesn't play really good defense, so can't really stick him at second base or third base. And those are like the two driving variables behind a lack of general MLB interest in Luis Rengifo, from my understanding. And let me take a sip of my tea here. So now that we're here, just want to say hey to everybody in the chat. We got MLB Channel Guy. If Bellinger doesn't lower his asking price, it won't get done. If he doesn't lower his asking price, he's not going to be playing Major League Baseball next year. We've got Jack LVNV. Let's go Yankees. Let's go Yankees, man. Hope you're doing well. Joe Burden, my guy, says, fuck, I wasn't first. Don't worry about it, man. I appreciate you being here. Ryan Jack, my guy here, saying what's up. Zachary Goldstein saying he enjoyed the twin off earlier. Yeah, if you guys hadn't seen, did a video with Chris Kirshner of The Athletic. He was awesome. He provided a ton of really awesome insight and information, so you guys should check that out once we are off this live stream. We really appreciate all this good support and all the positive messages you guys gave here on the chat. We've got we've got Yanks Lover here. We've got L.I. Yankee King himself. He's a little concerned about upgrading a quote-unquote mediocre ball club. And we've got some other people here too. Joseph, Finn, Colton, Blake, Brandon, and we'll get into questions now. Really appreciate, again, you guys being here. If you're here, make sure to like and subscribe. And let's start with this question from Joe Burden, completely off topic. But did you see we're getting a new scoreboard? Hype's beyond words. Yeah, I got to say this. I always love upgrades to the stadium. I think upgrades to the stadium are fun. I think they're fresh. I think they provide a little bit of, a little excitement in going to the ballpark and being there. You always want to make sure you're improving your viewing experience, and I'm excited to see what it looks like because, these kinds of improvements are far and in between. I apologize for the occasional coughing. I really, my throat is shot. I need to keep drinking tea, and I have some here. But it'll hopefully keep me from rushing through my words. And hopefully I slow down a little bit. So, the next question, or I'll scroll back a little bit, some of these questions. I'll say what's up to my boy Dave. We've got Eno. We've got Blue Line Rocks. We've got Miguel. Anthony, appreciate you all tuning in here. Is it possible the Yankees get Peralta or Joe Ryan? Now, there is nothing to indicate that Joe Ryan, that the Twins' stance on Joe Ryan, which was that they are not going to trade him. I have very little reason to believe that that's going to change, and if it does, I personally would not believe that it's the New York Yankees who are making that aggressive, blow it by you with the Yankees roster. The way I look at things with the Yankees is that they don't really have the kind of farm system that blows people away, and so I wouldn't expect the Twins to change their tune on this just because the Yankees made an offer. I could be wrong. We got Ryan Weathers. Are you serious? Is that our starting pitching edition? Ryan Weathers is a New York Yankee. For 4 minor leaguers? All right, we're talking about Ryan Weathers, folks. For 4 minor leaguers is kind of crazy, I said we were going to trade for a starter. I got to get my phone. I tossed my phone, fellas. I'm getting my phone. I'll be right back. Holy shit. Breaking news. The New York Yankees have traded for Ryan Weathers for 4 starting minor leaguers. I'll break down this trade in 10 seconds. Give me a minute. I've got to grab my phone because I got to text the guys and let them know what's going on. I'll be right back. Right back, fellas. I turned off the wrong thing. I'm in my pajama pants, by the way. Just letting you guys know. The New York Yankees have traded for Ryan Weathers. You can hear me, hopefully. All right. We are live here. The New York Yankees have acquired Ryan Weathers. Ryan Weathers, to me, I like this addition. I like this addition a good bit. And the reason I like this addition is the stuff is very good. I like this addition. I like Ryan Weathers. Let's get the StatCast on this screen right now. I like Ryan Weathers. I like this. I like Ryan Weathers. I know he's not a frontline ace. I get it. But this guy's got really good stuff, and I think this is at least freaking something, man. And I've been asking for freaking something, man, for weeks. I'm live, so this is great. Nothing Ever Happens FC has lost. But we are live because the Yankees have traded for left-handed starting pitcher Ryan Weathers. Now, I believe Ryan Weathers is going to start for the New York Yankees. I like Ryan Weathers. This is a guy I like. I got to share my screen, but we got to see what they get back. Because what they get back is going to really determine this for me. Because if Ryan Weathers is traded for, like, premium prospects, I'm going to be pretty upset. So we're going to pull this up here. I've got my tabs all in a loop. I'm going to, like, alt just so that you guys don't have to see the ugliness of the top of my Windows tab. I like Ryan Weathers. So, four-seam fastball at 96 miles per hour. Not good extension on this pitch. Not a plus pitch. Good vertical ride on this pitch, 16 inches of ride. Arm angle is pretty normal, so a pretty typical four-seam fastball. But the slider and the changeup are really good pitches. I know the WOBA, the average, the slug is not great here, but the expected numbers are good. Sweeper is good. Sinker isn't great. Like, this is a three-pitch pitcher, but this is a guy I like because he's got multiple years of control, and he is someone who projects pretty well. And that is where I'm a fan. I am a fan because I'm trying to find the trade here. Let me go to Jack Curry. You guys are getting a TLDR on my Twitter. And yes, I'm flexing the fact that Jack Curry follows me. I love this guy. We're going to talk about this because this is breaking news. I'm not pulling up the right things. Video capture. I don't know how to use OBS. Please. Lewis Jones, are you serious? We traded. Oh, man, that sucks. That sucks, dude. I will say that does suck. I do like Dylan Lewis a healthy bit. Man, that is kind of that is a little bit of that is a tough prospect. Like that is a big prospect. That is a big prospect haul you're trading. You can't sit here and tell me that this isn't a big prospect haul you're trading. But I like Ryan Weathers. The reason I like Ryan Weathers, let's look at the projections here. Projected to be about a 2-win pitcher for whatever team acquires him. Last year, I know the FIP wasn't good. I get it. Like, there are some things here that aren't great. But the stuff is really good. The upside is high here. You're taking a lottery ticket a little bit. But this is a guy who has upside and could be a number 2 or number 3 starting pitcher. Brendan Jones was traded in this deal. That sucks, too. This is a lot. Like, this is a lot in this deal. I can't sit here and pretend this isn't. But I will also tell you, you're going to have to trade a lot to get a starting pitcher. And I kept saying this in videos, like, hey, you're going to have to trade a lot to get a starter. And if you're not going to trade a lot to get a starter, then you are lying to yourself. You have to trade a lot to get a starter in this market. And I've said it over and over again. And people just kind of like kept going, oh, you could just trade like bums for this guy or that guy. Like you need to, it was going to require a lot to trade for this guy. I'm in the spot where, again, we need to kind of look at the kind of pitcher you're getting, the talent of pitcher you're getting. This is a talented pitcher. I like talented pitchers. I like guys who can provide upside in your rotation, who have swing and miss stuff. And I know, like, I wanted Freddie Peralta. I really wanted Freddie Peralta. And I don't know why I can't find a way to click. Yeah, I wanted Freddie Peralta badly. And I really wanted him. This guy would have been awesome for the Yankees. But you needed a starter. You need to pull down a starting pitching trade. And, well, you did it. Last 2 years, since becoming a Marlin, he's been a number 3-ish starter. And I've said that you need a number 3-ish starter. And as Zachary just pointed out, 3 years of control, can move him to the bullpen postseason time. Yeah, I have to recalibrate. I was not expecting a trade to go down. So, yeah, we're changing the title of this, fellas. You're seeing this all with me. Oh, my God, I know how to change my tabs. I have no idea how to change my tabs on this, but we're going to put this down for a second. Let's talk ball. Ryan Weathers is a New York Yankee. For just joining us, Ryan Weathers has been traded to the New York Yankees for Dylan Lewis, Brendan Jones, Dylan Hasso, and Juan Mathis. Weathers is someone who I think can really provide you with upside. Weathers has upside, fellas. Like, this is a guy who has the ability to really evolve in a pitching lab, and you have to figure that this is an indication of where the trade market is at. He only costs you about $1.3 million towards your luxury tax, so you can still do other things. And I know people are saying you're getting fleeced, this, that, and the third. You traded for 3 years of a starting pitcher. You were going to give up a lot to make this deal happen. This was going to cost you an arm and a leg. And this idea that this was not going to cost you an arm and a leg was crazy. You needed to get a starting pitcher, and the only way to get a starting pitcher was to trade a lot of pieces or to sign one. I wanted to sign one. I want to sit here and say I wanted to sign one. But Weathers has excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. I like this a lot. He has minor league options. You can send him down if he's not very good. You got a start, like you pulled down a starting pitcher. You improved your rotation. This I like a lot. So I want to get your thoughts, though. Oh, Baseball Values thinks it's an underpay. Yeah, because you traded for 3 years of a starting pitcher. Yeah, so let's talk. Let's break down Weathers real quick. Where would I rank him as a starting pitcher? Would not make a top 30 starting pitching list. Would it make a top 40? Probably wouldn't make a top 50. But when you compare him to other starters available for trade, very much like a Mackenzie Gore, the strikeout to walk rate is actually pretty similar to a Mackenzie Gore. So in my head canon of guys I think about, I look at him as Mackenzie Gore. There is injury risk in this, and that is a big point. That is a very big part of this conversation. But you didn't trade a premium like Elmer, LaGrange, Jones, this, that, whatever it may be. So you're trading for upside. And Vinny makes a good point here. Vinny with the super chat. He's maxed out at like 18 starts in his whole career. I get that. And I understand, man. But you needed to trade. Like, you didn't trade out of your top 5. You didn't trade out of your top 6. You didn't trade out of your top 7. And if this guy needs to, he can be in your bullpen come postseason time. And Zachary, it's a good point. Every pitcher has injury risk. If you trade for a starting pitcher, you're trading for injury risk. Garrett Cole's a great example of this because Garrett Cole is king durable and then randomly can't figure that out. Can't figure out the command. Or can't figure out how to stay healthy. You need to go out and pull down a starter. The Yankees have pulled down a starter. They pulled down a guy who has tons of upside. They pulled down a guy who's left-handed with a big fastball, with plus secondary pitches. You look at his stuff plus scores, his only below-average pitch and stuff plus are his fastballs. You've got a guy who's got a good fastball shape. You've got a guy who over the last 2 years has been a productive starting pitcher when healthy, and that when healthy is a big thing here. But the upside is great, and in this deal, you didn't trade one of your major league ready starting pitching guys, like a Elmer Rodriguez, like a Will Warren, who's already in the big leagues. So the price for starting pitching is high. To pull down a starting pitcher, you are going to have to do something crazy. You pulled down a quality starting pitcher. You didn't pull down a stud. You didn't pull down a superstar. You didn't pull down a number 1 starting pitcher. But you pulled down a quality starting pitcher. You pulled down a guy who makes your team better. You pulled down a guy who improves the roster. You pulled the guy down who makes your rotation better and can make your bullpen better if you have to put him in that role comes postseason time. Really good changeup, which the Yankees are very good with. And when you, again, now look at the rotation, Weathers slots in as your number 4 starter or your number 3 starter. You've got Fried, Schlittler, Weathers, Warren, Heel. Yarbrough's your 6th starter. Elmer's your 7th starter. You've put yourself in a much better situation depth-wise. And I did have graphics prepared, I can't lie, for all this stuff, and I will not be using them tonight, which does suck. Paul Goldschmidt. Hey, he went to the Diamondbacks. Good for Paul Goldschmidt. Good for Paulie G, man. Good for Paulie G. Actually, I think I'm just going based off chat here, and I could be so wrong. But I am a fan of this. I am a fan of this because Ryan Weathers has plus stuff, and you needed a starting pitcher, and that is who he is. You traded for a guy with above average stuff, above average swing and miss rates, an option that you can send him down with. Like, this guy could really become something pretty good for you. And you need to be taking flyers on these kinds of starting pitchers and giving them into your lab. Now, I wanted a better starter. I wanted an ace. Everyone wants an ace. Also, I was wrong. Goldschmidt did not sign with the Diamondbacks. I apologize. I got fooled by chat. That's on me, though. That's on me. It's not on chat. That's on me. When you look at Ryan Weathers' stuff plus scores, they're positive. And I did tweet out, they're going to trade for somebody you never heard. I'm going to retweet this tweet. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Classic. I said, and I quote, I think the Yankees are going to trade for a starter we have not heard them linked to, but I'm confident it'll be someone worse than Peralta, but better than Heel. And I think this guy checks the box of worse than Peralta, better than Heel. So, again, when we look at, and maybe they trade for another starter. I personally don't think they're going to trade for another starter. I think this is the only starter you're trading for. I could be wrong. But we'll see. Now let me kind of emotions. I just saw a trade and I'm really excited to just have a trade to talk about. I'm excited to have things to talk about. Ryan Weathers this past season didn't pitch much. And the previous season didn't pitch much. And those are real things to be worried about. We're going to go on Baseball Prospectus and pull up his injury history, the exact injuries he sustained over this time span. Impressive, like little find by the Yankees. Vinny Dice, thank you for the super chat again. And look, maybe this ends up being this upside play that works out for you, but I'm not going to poo-poo on the idea of trading for a starter who has a plus fastball and, according to Stuff Plus, has a plus changeup and a plus slider and is younger than everyone else in your rotation, I think, except for Schlittler. So he's dealt with a lat strain. That's not positive. Flexor muscle. That's not positive. Index finger. That's just kind of weird. Ankle fracture, again, that was in 21. So there are some concerns injury-wise, and these are real concerns to talk about. Slider is good. Changeup is good. Fastball is solid. Those are the exciting data points. Will he pass physical? Probably. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with how the rest of this offseason goes. But let me answer some of the questions here. So, will he pass physical? Yes. Risk and reward is most MLB trades? Yes. Who was traded in the deal? Dylan Lewis, Brendan Jones, Juan Mathuis, and Dylan Hasso. Lewis was in my top 10. I had the list coming out. I'm going to have to update it. Jones was my top 15. Had a list coming out. Going to have to update that. Hasso was in the back end of my top 30. Nobody else was on. And Mathuis would have been in consideration. Didn't happen. I agree, Zachary. Wish we got a reliever in this deal as well because you gave up a large quantity of prospects. Then a large you didn't really get the quality of prospect traded, but you did trade a large quantity of prospects. The way I look at Ryan Weathers is the reason I think he's better than some of the guys that I think people are giving him credit for. The reason I like him is the fact that Ryan Weathers has plus stuff. He's got plus stuff. He's got the kind of repertoire that works well for an organization. Ryan Weathers has a good fastball. Not a great one, a good one. He's got a plus slider, a really good sweeping slider. Like, this sweeping slider grades out very well. It's got not too much lateral for it to be like a terrible pitch against righties. And it's got a good amount of depth, so that should play well in platoon matchups. He's got a sinker that could use work. He's got a really good changeup that works really well off of his fastball. And the Yankees tend to work very well with left-handed starting pitchers, especially with their sinkers. And when we look at some of the guys that he compares to in terms of pitch mix and repertoire, like that fastball changeup combination is very disgusting. And I think when we talk about an organization like the Yankees and what they do on the pitching side of things, I believe that people underrate how good they are at pitching development. The Yankees are really good at pitching development. They added a guy with a plus strikeout to walk rate in over the last 2 seasons. And if you look at how you're trying to build your rotation, you've got a guy with plus stuff. And I'm not saying that this is the guy you should have had 1.1 on your board. There are other guys that had higher on my board. I had Peralta higher. I had Gore higher. I had Ryan higher. I had so many guys higher. But with that being said, the recent numbers would indicate, hey, this guy has pretty good stuff and could end up being a really quality starting pitcher for the middle of your rotation. You needed a guy to at least help you get through the season, the start of the season. Weather should be healthy to at least open the season with you and give you another option. And when you look at his projections, which are pretty strong, they indicate this could be a solid starting pitcher. So it's not to say, and I agree with this from L-Train, I'm glad we got a guy with upside instead of Lucas Giolito or Chris Bassett. I thought the Yankees had to play for upside, not for just innings. And that was a big part of why I liked Gore so much. That's a big part of why I liked Cabrera so much. That is the crux of my argument here. That the Yankees are really good at pitching development. They brought in a guy who is, if you talk to people in a lot of like analytical circles on the pitching side, you talk to like the Lance Brozdowskis of the world, those kinds of people. They liked Weathers a good bit. They really liked what they saw from Ryan Weathers. So there are really smart people in the industry who like Ryan Weathers. There are really good data points to look at and say, hey, this guy could be something depending on what you do X, Y, and Z with his pitch mix. There are reasons to like him. There are reasons to believe this could be a plus starter in the 2026 season. And the fact that there's any upside here, the fact that there is not just any, there is real upside here, is encouraging for what you're trying to accomplish as a baseball team, which is building a strong roster that is flexible, that is notable, that can move guys around, and can give yourself some more depth. I see a lot of people like, why don't you, is he going to block this guy, block that guy? There is no prospect in the organization who can currently be looked at as major league ready day one. Maybe Elmer shows up to camp and dominates, but you want him to show up and do that. You don't want him to be relied upon to do that. And then when we look at, what it means to acquire a starter who isn't proven and is a solid starter, not a great one, and has upside, good organizations take these kinds of flyers and take guys to make them better. The Yankees acquired a guy who they can really make better, who they can really blow him by his projections, which are already pretty strong. Vinny Dice says there's no damn way they get a Peralta or something like that anymore. I'd say no. Sorry, guys. I'd say no. I'd say it's unlikely that occurs just based on, my initial guess. By the way, if you're here, if you're here watching, there's over 400 of you guys liking. I really appreciate if you guys could like here. I understand being like, hey, this isn't who I expected. And I've said before, again, I tweeted this, I'm going to give myself the flowers of saying I thought this was something like this could happen. And I expected something weird like this to happen. I did not expect Freddie Peralta to be a Yankee, and I did not expect them to go the traditional route here. Are we still poor? So add this to our roster. $5 from Zod TTV. Appreciate you, man. But, when you look at Ryan Weathers, he is a quality starting pitcher. He's not a great one, but he's a quality starting pitcher. You needed to add a quality starting pitcher. He's a quality starting pitcher who's 25 years old, turning 26, who's got tons of upside. Tons of upside. The Yankees have turned these guys, you need to get this guy to pitch for the first month or so of the season. They did not need this guy to come in and be okay, he's got to make 30 starts this year. He's got to make 35 starts. You needed a guy who shows up and does a job and just pitches at a decent rate and can be a number 3, number 4 starter for you, preferably a number 3. Like, if the Yankees traded for Mackenzie Gore, what is the material difference between Ryan Weathers and Mackenzie Gore? What is the material difference between the two guys? One guy has a 15% strikeout to walk rate over the last 2 years. The other guy has a 16% strikeout to walk rate over the last 2 years. Both guys struggle with batted ball data issues. Both these guys struggle with depth of repertoire. I don't see how the Yankees can't unlock more in this profile. I'm not saying this guy is a superstar. I'm not saying this guy is a crazy needle mover. And I'm not saying this guy is going to make you an insane team. But when you look at the board of guys I liked, there were the established guys. There were the upside guys. Ryan Weathers projects better than Tatsuya Maida's next year. I don't agree with those projections there. I think Amai's better than the projections that are out there for him. But people sit here and act like most of the primary targets that people were looking at for the Yankees did not have some level of the Yankees can make this guy better, and that's part of the appeal here. This is a super chat from Vinny Dice. I was actually looking at Ryan Weathers' Savant page yesterday. So weird how that works. It really is weird how that works. That really is. Helps the floor and helps the ceiling. Zachary, I agree. Your floor is better. You have another arm. You have a living body. And you make your ceiling better because if this guy shows up to camp and looks good, you're in a good spot. You're in a good spot. So I think that where I look at Ryan Weathers is I think this guy could be a quality starting pitcher for you in 2026. And that's where I'm at right now. So, yeah. So Rosario, Weathers, and Bellinger maybe is what we think makes us a better team than next year. Look, I don't know if you're a better team than next year. Sorry. You won 94 games next year. I don't know if you're going to be better than that. I don't know if this is what all they're going to do. As Jack Lockhart kind of points out here, what do we do with Dominguez and Jones if not trading them for a starter? Not sign Bellinger, trade for an infielder? Obviously, I don't believe the Yankees are going to trade out of their outfield room until something happens with Bellinger, whether it's signing Bellinger back or potentially losing him, whatever it may be. But there is a point to be made that, hey, there's kind of a little bit more that you could do ammo-wise if you are to, bring back Bellinger. It doesn't feel like the kind of roster that has to be static and can't move to get other guys. I stress not to. I am not stressing that Ryan Weathers is a good pitcher or that you have to like him. Like, I don't want to sit here and tell you that you have to think, oh man, Ryan Weathers is awesome. Ryan Weathers is so damn good, and if you don't think he's good, you're an idiot. I am just trying to say there is a reason why the Yankees acquired this guy, and it is because he throws hard, has a good changeup, has a good slider, and there's upside here. There's upside that he starts kind of can get on track health-wise and can be the kind of pitcher who's a number 3 starter in your rotation. So it's not to say that the Yankees are set for life with this guy or that they are the best team in baseball with this guy or because of this guy. But it is to say Ryan Weathers made your rotation better. You improved your starting rotation. You brought in some upside. You brought in a guy who's got plus stuff. And if you are to bring back Bellinger, hey, you've got some chips to move. Do you want to maybe move a Warren or Luis Seal in a deal for a starting pitcher or for another bat? I don't know. I think there's a lot of understandable, like, this is not Freddie Peralta. It is normal to say, hey, man, why isn't this Freddie Peralta? Like, we're the Yankees. We need to go out and get a Freddie Peralta. We need to go out and get, like, a better starter than this. That's fine. That's totally understandable. I'm not happy with the fact that this offseason is not what I hoped it would be in terms of the kinds of players they're bringing in. But the prospects they traded for Weathers, albeit there are some good ones in there, not saying this is a complete nobody deal. They did give up some solid prospects, but I don't think they killed their farm system doing this. Dylan Lewis specifically. You trade Dylan Lewis not to go get you're not trading Dylan Lewis to get a bum. You are trading Dylan Lewis to get a guy you believe in. Clearly, the Yankees believe in this guy. I want to know why. Matt Blake is very good at his job. There's obvious reasons here when you look at the numbers, when you look at the data, when you look at the pitching profile, to believe in this guy and believe that there is something to unlock here. And the pitching industry believes this is a guy who's got some upside. That's neither here nor there. A couple super chats here. Kept Major League Chips ready. Kept Major League ready chips, Martian for Nico. Don't think the Cubs do that. That's just me personally. They don't need an outfielder that badly. By the way, 68% of viewers here out of 165 voters like this deal, so that's pretty cool. Now, when does Bellinger sign, says Vinny Dice. Also, I only know who this is because when his catcher hit him in the head on the throwdown, I did remember this. Vinny, I don't know when Bellinger's going to sign. Thank you for the super chat, but I imagine this could happen relatively soon. And would I do a show, Nick Totoro? If he would love to be on here, I have no problem bringing on guests. I love having guests. I love having people who love the Yankees, just as I do, because I freaking love the Yankees, man. So, yeah. We were talking about Lewis in a trade with two others for a better starter, so instead we settled on Lewis plus 3 prospects for a lesser pitcher. Does that not tell you what they think of Weathers, though? Like, I don't believe the Yankees are going to just dump prospects for a starter regardless. I think that they wanted to bring in a guy who they liked, and I think this is a guy they liked. Also, yes, Ryan Weathers' dad, David Weathers, did pitch for the Yankees, I believe, in 1996. So there is that tie there. But again, I think there is something pretty fun to work with here. I'm really excited to see how he ends up pitching in 2026, and I imagine this is going to dominate our airwaves. Like, this is going to be what we talk about for the majority of this show. This seems like an overpay. 4 minor league players for a guy that's barely pitched at all, and that's fair. Like, this was an expensive piece, but I also want to tell you guys, like, this is what it was going to cost to trade for a starting pitcher. Like, when we look at and this is something that I think should work in criticism of the Yankees. The Yankees did not sign a starting pitcher. And I mentioned a lot over the offseason that if they did not sign a starting pitcher, they'd be in a position where they would have to really put pressure on the farm system to get a starter in a market that's very favorable for sellers. We've seen that this is a seller's market. This has been a market very favorable for sellers. Like, Edward Cabrera had a partial tear in his UCL, and I'll be honest with you guys, not only was I willing to trade Lewis and Hess for Cabrera, but the Cubs were willing to trade Owen Casey, who was like a top 5 prospect in their system, a back-end top 100, on top of a top 10 prospect-ish in Christian Hernandez, and another younger guy in the DSL who's got some upside. So it's not to say that these are prices teams and contenders should not pay. It's more so to say these are prices that are the market is set. And if you're not going to pay them, you are not going to get a starter. Again, that is why I wanted the Yankees to sign a starting pitcher and sign an outfielder in Bellinger or Tucker, not trade for a starter. But that is the situation we are at. Freed, Schlittler, Heel, Warren, Weathers doesn't look great. Hopefully it works out. There's upside in this group. And you have to remember, they got 2 guys coming back. So that was part of the equation. Yankees were going to start Rodon and Cole. Me personally, not happy about the fact that Weathers is probably a guy who I'm not giving the ball to. If the postseason started tomorrow, I'm not giving the ball to Ryan Weathers. That is part of, like, there is a reason to be like, hey, man, that's a frustrating, like, concerning thing for me. The beautiful thing about all this is that we have about, 9 months until the postseason starts. So you could bring a baby to term in the time between Ryan Weathers being traded to the Yankees and Ryan Weathers having to take the ball for the Yankees in the postseason. So that is part of this conversation as well. And I know, like, they traded Dylan Lewis for Weathers instead of Peralta. You have this deal. This package was not getting a deal done for Freddie Peralta. It was not. It was not getting a deal done for Freddie Peralta. It just wasn't. It was not. Regardless of whether you want to make that seem like that was the case or not, this was not going to get a deal done for that guy. And if you look at your rotation, the cool thing about this is now you've got a 25, 26, 26, and 27-year-old starting pitcher in your starting five. You got a very young rotation. You got a lot of stuff. You got a good amount of velo. I'm pretty happy about like where his upside could be at in a year in the year. I'm pretty excited about what his stuff it already looks like. I'm just curious to see what tweaks he ends up making. I'm curious to see what the Yankees end up doing here. I'm curious to see what his health looks like. This stuff is really electric. And I believe that there is upside to like here. He's 26 years old. He's got 3 years of control. There's a lot of like positive. There's a lot of positive in terms of how a lot of smart baseball people look at Ryan Weathers. And I've seen that as the case for a while now. This is not a recent like new thing for the Yankees. So we'll see. We'll see how this ends up panning out. We'll keep answering your questions here. If they don't get Tucker or Belly punt, yeah, if they don't get Tucker or Belly, they're gonna have a really hard time getting involved again in the starting pitching in being a strong offensive group, because I don't think they're gonna sign Bichette. I also don't think they're gonna sign Tucker. So I think that's part of this as well. I do not believe they're gonna sign Kyle Tucker. So I just want that to be something that people have me on record saying, because I'll take that to the bank, man. Like, they're not going to sign Kyle Tucker, even though I really want that to happen. Also, do want to say in regard to his innings counts, he has pitched over 100 innings before. He pitched over 100 innings in 23, albeit wasn't very effective that year because he tossed, I keep coughing a lot, 130 innings between the minor leagues and the major leagues. Again, there is injury risk here. Like, that is part of this conversation, and that has to be part of this conversation. We cannot have this conversation without talking about injury risk. But again, I'm not really sure. Again, I'm just not really sure where. Oh, Lodolo or Weathers? Yeah, I'd rather have Lodolo. He has a better repertoire. He's a better pitcher. He's been a better pitcher. That's not a question to me. But he also like brings you more. Or he comes with more stuff here. He comes with more, like, you have to trade more to get him. It's not a guarantee he gets traded. All those kinds of things. So, I don't think the Yankees are trading for another starting pitcher. I don't think they're trading for another starting pitcher. I believe this is going to be their starting pitching trade. But we will see what ends up happening. We will see how they end up kind of looking here, because if Weathers taps into his stuff the way that he can, this guy could be really, really freaking cool for you next year. But again, it depends on whether he does or doesn't. Like, I'm not going to run away from that fact. Tucker being truly offered $50 million a year. Yes, the reporting has been that the Mets have a $50 million a year for 3 years offer for Kyle Tucker. They can use Warren and Hill for Peralta now. They're not going to trade for Freddie Peralta, I imagine. I think this was the starting pitching trade. Could we sign a starter reliever hybrid? Surely. They could. Yeah, I don't see why they couldn't. Maybe. We'll see. I think, again, this is the main pitching upgrade. But, yeah. 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 I trust the Yankees when it comes to pitching. I think the Yankees are really strong when it comes to adding pitching. And that is why I believe in them to get a starting pitcher and make them better. And I'm going to keep saying that, man. I'm going to keep saying that. Going to keep saying it. Super chat from JXV88. We should get Framber Valdez for the low. They're not going to be acquiring him probably. I can't lie, man. Can't see that happening, unfortunately. Something that hasn't been mentioned is Weathers pitched much better when he was traded to the Marlins than when he was with the Padres. Yeah, and remember, he's 26. Like, he was, 23, 24 when he got traded to the Padres? So, yeah, get Verlander? No. No, he's washed. No. Dodgers should match the Mets offer for Tucker. I don't know if a team's going to give him 3 years, $50 million a year, $150 million. Like, I don't think that's going to happen, fellas. We're gonna just save image. We're gonna throw this on the screen real quick. This is an image from TJ Stats. I got to give him props. His @ is in the thing here, and I don't know why this just locked it on that big, but his @ is in this image. This is some of the stuff scores for Ryan Weathers. If you look at the repertoire, 16 inches of induced vertical break. Not a high whiff rate on that pitch, although it's got really good stuff scores. I think the lack of a high whiff rate has to do more with the fact that it's a pretty stereotypical movement profile for a pitch released with that release height. Changeup is really good. Changeup is the pitch that I'm the most excited about. The slider's a solid pitch. Sinker's fun. I think the sinker's where you can see some work being done here to maybe make him a better, more refined starter. That cutter/slider pitch, I think you could turn that into a cutter. The Yankees, I think, when it comes to what Weathers does well, which seems to be pushing the ball. I can't tell if I can't say if he's more of a pronator or supinator, but he does seem to get the ball. He seems to get the ball around the ball better going into lefties and away from righties. That should make him a good sinker candidate. So, yeah. I think, again, if you were in on Mackenzie Gore, and I was in on Mackenzie Gore, I don't see how you could not be in on – I don't see you could be not in on Ryan Weathers. That, to me, is part of this conversation. Bader's coming back, probably. There's a leak there. I know there was a piece of information about that, but I think they'll ultimately end it with Bellinger. So, yeah. I think, again, when you look at Ryan Weathers, I like him, man. I like him. I think if they have to add some bullpen arms, I think they need to add a bullpen arm or two. I think they need to and this is where I wonder what is going on with their newfound pitching depth. I'm just curious because they have a good amount of depth there. And I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not particularly I'm curious. I'm just kind of curious as to what this is going to mean for the Yankees, in their next decisions and what comes after this. So that is where I'm a little bit I got to see what happens next. There's got to be more for me to be. There's got to be a little bit more for me to digest on the other side of what they're doing for me to be here all right, I'm happy, I'm thrilled about this winner. I'm not thrilled about the winner yet. It's not a good winner yet. They haven't added a big-time bat. They haven't added a bullpen arm. They haven't done enough. They haven't done enough. So they have more they have to do. So I don't want to sit here and tell you off-season set, man. They just got Ryan Weathers. Boom, bang, bing, bong. It's done. It's nah, bro. They need to do more. Super chat here. It's an overpay. The market is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, the market stinks, dude. Market sucks for pitching. But I told you. What did I tell you, fellas? The market for pitching freaking blows, dude. It freaking blows, man. It blows, bro. It blows, bro. It blows. Unfortunately, this is where you can criticize the Yankees. Man, I didn't want to trade these many prospects this offseason. Well, you should have spent more money. That is a that is a place where, I'm critical about this. That is where I'm critical. Where it's dude, you should have been more willing to spend financial capital on your pitching staff. But I like this stuff. I like the repertoire. I like the mix. I like what he brings to the table. I like what he brings to the table upside-wise. And we'll see if trading for a starting pitcher is going to allow them to improve their overall upside. I hope this is a trade to gear up for a Hoerner trade. That's from Jonathan Carrizzo. I don't think they're trading for Nico Hoerner. I will keep sitting here and saying I do not believe they're going to trade for Nico Hoerner. I do not think that Nico Hoerner is going to trade for, I don't think Nico Hoerner's going to get traded. I just don't. Maybe he does, but I don't think the Yankees are going to trade for him. I just don't. We'll see. TBD. Why did they re-sign Grisham? Because he hit 34 home runs last year and hits the ball hard, and Verlander's 42, and he was not that good on the. He was not that good last year. He's just not that good. I don't know, man. It's just not my thing. With these inflated prices, they need to shop Peel aggressively. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. TBD on that, right? TBD on that. We'll see. TBD. We'll see. Let's see. Verlander was better than Weathers. He was better in ERA. He had a better ERA. That's all he had. Better ERA, man. Sorry, I'm not an ERA guy, fellas. This is not an ERA podcast. We are on ERA as a predictor of future results. Verlander had a 12.8% strikeout to walk rate. Sorry, fellas, not my thing. Ryan Weathers is going to start for 2 months to become a long reliever, yet they took him instead of Freddie Peralta, Mackenzie Gore, or even Alcantara. Okay, I want to clarify. I would have preferred Freddie Peralta. I would have been much happier with Freddie Peralta, and this is not the kind of move that you sit back and go, hey, man, the Yankees are elite now. This is the move that puts you nuts on the table. Oh, baby, you just saved the offseason. That's not what this move is. It's not what this move is. But I like the upside. I think Gore's a better pitcher, but not by a considerable margin, to the point where I would tell you that Ryan Weathers, Mackenzie Gore's higher than Ryan Weathers on my board for a reason, because I think Mackenzie Gore's a better pitcher than Ryan Weathers. But I also believe we're overstating the gap in upside here, which is that these guys share similar repertoires in terms of overall upside and strikeout to walk rate numbers. You're taking a risk on availability versus ability. You are betting on a guy who's got good ability and hoping that his availability is there. I would rather you bet on availability than ability. Betting on availability instead of ability is something that's very important to me, because good teams should be taking risks on injuries. They should not be taking risks on talent. You should not be saying, I'm bringing in a guy who isn't talented. They should be bringing in guys who are talented. So, yeah. That's my TLDR. But, again, I wish there was more stability here. There is not more stability here. There is risk here. This is an important part of the conversation. So, yeah. That's where it is. Yeah. Hey, Ryan, I appreciate you being happy about the signing. I think we're all just desperate for any move is what we got. This is a joke. Yeah, that's fair. Look, I understand not being happy about, being thrilled about this. I understand going, this isn't blow me over the top. People say, we traded 4 guys for a reliever. You don't know he's going to be a reliever. You do not know what the Yankees are going to look at him as. You have no idea. No idea. None. You have no idea what the role this guy's going to serve on the 2026 team. It's very likely he's going to be a starter. And even more importantly, the Yankees like this guy. This is how can we, I think it has to be part of the conversation that one of the better pitching development organizations in baseball was I like this guy, and I want to get this guy. And I'm going to pay to get this guy. It does suck to lose Dylan Lewis. I like Dylan Lewis a lot. But if you're going to sit here and tell me I'm not trading Dylan Lewis for a guy the organization likes, I think we're being crazy. This is a good player to organization fit. It's not crazy to be disappointed. It is not crazy to say, hey, man, like, I don't love it. It's not crazy to do those things, guys. Like, it's not crazy to be like, I want more. I wish this was a greater move. That's fine. You should be validated in your belief that this team should be doing more than what they're currently doing. That being said, I don't think we can sit here and say this is a complete dud of a trade. There's nothing to like, and there's no chance this works out for the Yankees. Or, like, I think there are reasons. There are things to not like about this. There are things to be worried about this. This was not even one of the 5 guys I had on my board for top 5s for pitchers I wanted. Imai was on there. King was on there. Peralta was on there. Gore was on there. Sandy was on there. Weathers wasn't. I would have preferred Cabrera to Weathers. Most likely. Like, for 2026, who would I bet on? I'd bet on Cabrera probably. I don't want to invalidate that. I don't want you guys to feel like you're stupid for being like, I've got questions about this guy. I don't want you to feel stupid about that. This could blow up in your face. This guy could get hurt in April, and this deal could suck. You're taking a risk. But I think this is a good risk for you to take as an organization that has enough pitching depth now that you can stomach this if he gets hurt. And I also think there is enough upside here to go, hey, this guy is a really talented pitcher. He's a talented pitcher who isn't a established pitcher but has upside, right? That is what this is. This is a play that you're gambling on what the guy has shown stuff-wise, and you're gambling on what he can become. So, yeah. Again, I understand, guys. I understand. This is not Freddie Peralta, man. It should be Freddie Peralta, but yeah. Just remembered it, but in the article that connected us to Robert Jr. also mentioned Teoscar. Didn't say we had connections to him, but I'd actually love him in the lineup, not in the outfield, though. I agree. I would he'd be good in the offense probably, but outfield doesn't fit the outfield, unfortunately. Signed Verlander so his wife can go to the games. You guys are one of a kind. One of a kind. How good is this stuff? The stuff is plus. Stuff is a plus. It's a plus repertoire. Plus fastball, plus slider, plus changeup. Don't think there's anything beyond that's plus, but there's upside to add a cutter and a sinker. Why are people saying Heel and Warren are automatically just gone now? I agree, everything, Yanks. I don't think this is the forecasting of a trade of those guys. What I do sit back and go is, okay, if they sign Cody Bellinger, what's the play here, right? What's the play here? If they sign Cody Bellinger, what's the play here? That is what I'm curious about. Why would the Marlins part with him if he had so much upside? He's only 26 and makes nothing. That's a great question. They liked Dylan Lewis a lot. They really liked Dylan Lewis. Dylan Lewis was part of this deal, and there's risk. This is the reason why he hasn't been an elite starting pitcher, is the reason why the Marlins are comfortable getting off the player, which is, hey, there's a chance that he blows out his arm and he's never good again. That's a real possibility, fellas. It's a real possibility. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's not. Can't sit here and there is a really strong possibility he blows out his elbow, or he keeps getting hurt, or that you've got to try to find the right word here. You've got to deload at the end of the year with him. That you've got to 4 innings, 3 innings, 5 innings max in September per outing. That is those are real concerns, man. It doesn't take an incredible leap in logic for that to happen. But at the same time, you're taking a risk on talent. You're taking a risk on his availability, not on his ability. The ability is very good. Why would blow out the elbow? He's a pitcher. Just in general, pitchers can blow out their elbows, but he's been injury prone. And he could just get hurt. He could just pitch 100 innings instead of 150. He could just not pan out. He could just have a bad year. Like, these are all things that can happen, man. So, again, I don't want to ignore all that risk. I don't. I think it's important to ignore, to point out all of that risk. But in terms of the stuff is really good. The stuff is really good. The upside is there. This is a guy who take a flyer on if you believe in your pitching development. And if you look at his mix, there's upside for him to add a better sinker, for him to throw, like, be a 5-pitch guy. I think he has got more talent than Warren and Heel. I think he's got better stuff than both of them. He's got better velocity, a better fastball, better secondaries. Like, I think he's more talented than both pitchers and probably a better pitcher than both pitchers when healthy. When healthy is a big issue here, but, like, let's look at the injury history. The last 2 years have been really bad. MJAJA. It's been bad the last 2 years. He only made 8 starts this past year, and the year prior he threw about, I think, 100 innings. Now, previously he's been around a 120, 130 innings pitched guy, so that's why I think some of the injury stuff's overblown, but it still is like a thing that he does have issues with. And yes, Warren is more dependable health-wise probably on a year-to-year basis. Very clean minor league track record, very clean major league track record. Like, this is a very clean medical track record for Warren, but I think that Weathers is just more talented. Also, if the Yankees sign Bellinger and add like an Anthony Bender type, this offseason's a big letdown. Look, that's fair. Like, that is not enough. I want them to. Definitely makes me go, hey, they need to add a better reliever than like Anthony Bender. Like, the bar's got to be a little bit higher than that for me to be like happy. If they get Bellinger back, they add like a quality reliever. It's like a B. It's a B offseason for me. It's not great. It's better than average. If you add an outfielder, if you bring back your top target, which should have been Tucker. Tucker not being here is why it can't be an A for me. You add a starter, you add a Bellinger. If you check all your boxes, I typically give you a better than C offseason, especially if checking those boxes includes some guys who are pretty strong. So that is part of that conversation as well. But again, like, I look at Ryan Weathers and I see a guy who's 26 years old, who's younger than Will Warren, who's almost 2 years younger than Luis Seal, and I say, hey, this guy has some really good stuff. This guy's got better stuff than both of them. This guy's showed upside to major league level. It's pretty enticing. It's not the same as trading for Jesus Luzardo, who has pitched seasons where he looked like an ace prior to this, but there are some similarities in the sense that Jesus Luzardo was this oft-injured left-handed starting pitcher who peaked in 23, really sucked in 24, made 12 starts, had massive medical issues, had a trade fall through due to medical issues, and then made 32 starts a year later and was very good. Don't look at the ERA. Strikeouts to walk rate is really good. This is a similar kind of profile where it's fastball, slider, changeup, sinker, although different attribute points in terms of like where he's good, where he isn't really good. So, again, I think that Ryan Weathers has upside that's really talented, and I'm really excited for, and I can't wait to dig into this for an article. I'm going to spend all evening probably working on this article for you guys for Empire Sports Media, working on a breakdown video for tomorrow. Like, you guys are going to get tons of content finally that isn't just, here's the latest on Cody Bellinger. The Yankees want him. He hasn't signed yet. They made an offer. It's a big offer. Like, I hate doing that. There's a little bit of excitement for me in the sense that I'm glad they've done something, and maybe that's a really stupid thing to be excited about. Maybe that's a really stupid thing to, because this is where it bleeds into like my job, my occupation, and not just me as a fan. And I understand like that is you can't as a doing what I do. It's hard to connect to the fans when you're talking about things that have nothing to do with being a Yankee fan. So again, it's like I understand there's a little bit of like, sorry, I'm trying to collect my thoughts here. There are a little bit of things that don't really matter to the fan, but there are things that matter to me, and it's the Yankees are adding an exciting young arm who's got upside, and I've got something to talk about with you guys. I've got something to present to you guys. I've got something of value to give you guys. I've got content of value to give you guys. And, I think my responsibilities as a content creator matter to me. Like, we're getting away from baseball talk right now. But these kinds of things matter to me as a content creator because I believe it would be unbecoming of me to have this account and this channel devolve into just stupid rumor mill aggregation BS. Like, I'm upset that it's leaned a little bit too much into that as a channel because that's not what this should be about. This should be about being a little more creative. But now we get a chance to talk about things, and I'm a little excited from that. And again, I like the pitcher. I think the pitcher's talented. And I'm okay with, like, I don't want to have this very, like, you're stupid, you're a dumb fan, and I'm this super educated, this, that, and the third. I'm not. Like, I'm a fan just like you guys. And I have opinions just like you guys. And I am no different and no better than any of you guys in that regard. But I do think there's something to like here. And I'm going to talk about what's there to like. I'm going to talk about the risks. We'll break all that down. I really appreciate you guys being here, by the way. The support has been incredible. There are over 400 of you guys watching. You guys rock. You guys are the best. If you're here and you haven't liked and subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you did. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys could like and subscribe. We're still going to have our normal content, like, schedule-ish. Like, on Friday, we're going to talk prospects, and we'll talk about, like, the damage of this trade and all that stuff for the farm system. Sorry for the coughs. Tomorrow morning, expect lots of content about this guy. And everything Yanks, I agree. I like the straight from death standpoint. This team needs more. Yes, it does, man. This team is not complete. This team is not better than the Blue Jays. And, chat, I kind of want to get your perspective on this. Do we all agree that you have to be better than the Blue Jays for us to sit here and really, like, feel like they did enough? The bar is being the best team in the division. That's the bar, at the very least. I think if you're the best team in the division, you're the best team in the AL, but that's, like, my own personal opinion. Point is in all of this, like, you've got to, the bar is not there. We haven't met the bar. We haven't met the bar. We have to meet the bar. You're not there yet. We're not there yet, my friends. We've got to meet it. And I will be right there with you guys. Like, I'll be right there with you guys, complaining, criticizing, and, you know, really giving it to the organization if they don't deliver on being the best team in the American League on paper. You will, I promise you, I will never delegate from my responsibility to be objective. I promise you I will never, not delegate, I'll never step down from my responsibility to be objective. I'll never step down from my responsibility to this fan base to, I wouldn't say hold the team accountable. That's very douchebaggy to say. I don't have power like that. But it is my responsibility to ensure that I am not lying to you guys about what this team is or about what you can expect from this group. That I'm not bullshitting you because I'm a fan. It's part of the responsibility, fellas. So, again, like, I think there's a lot to like here. And I think depending on what the Yankees do next, there is a world where this is a really fun trade for the Yankees. Where this is a fun trade where the Yankees get, like, better. Where the Yankees are a complete team where the Yankees can say, hey, we checked our boxes. We added a starter. We added a reliever. We brought back Bellinger. We added to our bench. Like, I kind of want to break down. There's some financial things this opens up for you. Like, there are some financial things this opens up for you where you've got a guy who's only making $1.3 million. You didn't spend any money to do this. You didn't spend any money to do this. Should you be adding a fourth outfielder and trading Jason? Should you be maybe trading for another starter? What can you do? You should be getting creative. Adding a cheap starting pitcher should make you creative. That is my TLDR a little bit too, where you added a cheap starter. What does it mean for the rest of the offseason? You didn't spend any money to do this. You spent $1.3 million. You spent $1.3 million freaking dollars on this guy. Where can we get with these guys? How can we make this group better? I'm excited to see what this looks like. I'm excited to see what this roster looks like. I'm excited to see how they continue to pivot from here. I'm excited that there's something to talk about, to sink our teeth into. One of the things I will say is Juan Mathewis is a guy who some prospect people did like. So, yeah. Again, I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited to see how this move plays out. I'm so low on Hill. Talk me up a bit. I'm not high on Luis Hill. I don't think Luis Hill is particularly, like, exciting for me because not particularly exciting, sorry. Luis Hill's stock is definitely very low right now for me because he's a guy who doesn't have any command, who saw degradation in his stuff. Like, how can I be happy? How can I be happy about, like, what that pitcher is and say this guy's a stud? He deserves a chance, but that's really where I'm at. He deserves a chance. That's really where I'm at. But, yeah. And we'll see what kind of we have some super chats I'm going to look at right now. First one is by JXV88. If we don't retain at least Bellinger, I'll not buy chicken buckets in 2026. If the Yankees are cheap, so am I. Yo, dude, I gotta agree with you, man. I agree with you, bro. This is not good enough, bro. This is not good enough, bro. That would not be good enough, bro, if they don't bring back Bellinger. It's the fact that they're not on Tucker, you could argue, makes it like disappointing. That would be hell. Whole outcome of this stream changed. Yeah, bro, this was supposed to be a Bellinger stream and a mock trades for starters, and I was gonna sit here and kind of doom a little bit about their odds of adding a starter. Bullshit on that, huh? I should go kick myself. Like, what a moron, huh? What a moron I am. I was literally like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Look, had a mock trade, and I was gonna say, and it included Dylan Lewis. Look, I had this ready. I had Freddie Peralta stats ready. I had Mackenzie Gore stats ready. I had it ready, fellas. I had it ready. I had it ready. I was ready to talk, hey, me add a starter, and kind of poo-poo on the idea that they were going to add a starting pitcher, which is, like, kind of funny considering that this whole stream has been, hey, man, don't be too pessimistic about Ryan Weathers, but that's where we're at. Do you think they should pay Bellinger $35 million? I don't think they should, but I'd rather than pay him $35 million than do nothing. And I'd rather than pay him too much AAV for 5 years than not get him or give him a 6th year. I'm just gonna go straight to answering all your questions. By the way, Heel for Ben Shields, who says no. Sorry, the Yankees. 1 year ago, he was the center of a Tucker trade. Now he's fallen. That's the thing with starters, man. Let's not pretend that Cashman doesn't control who Boone is allowed to play. Yes, he can like influence that, but he can't. He's not gonna make. He can't make Boone play. Guys, is it possible we trade Weathers to Peralta? No. How do we become the best team in the AL East? Add Bellinger back. Realistic. Add Bellinger back. Add a reliever. Add a bench. Like, add an out-of-nowhere bat as your 10th man. And I think, and you gotta have to hope that Tucker doesn't sign with the Blue Jays. Those are the three. Those are like the things you need. Yankees that love the out-of-nowhere move no one expects. They do absolutely love that. They really do. I feel like Peralta's going to be Yankee. Warren is that guy in the trade. I don't think they're going to trade for Freddie Peralta, unfortunately. This is ERC. This is one of the moves that could be awesome. We would all be happy with if this wasn't the move. And I think the price was a bit high, but that's the market. A lot to like with that fastball. Yeah, again, this is my favorite take on it, I think. I like this take more than my take on it. This is a guy who, again, you've got to look at as if this is the only move, that isn't good. If this is the only move, that isn't good. If this is a move that allows you to do other things and sets you up to do something pretty cool that we didn't expect, I'm happy about it. So that's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at right now. And maybe they add another starter. But they've got 7 guys with 3 years of control. This is shout out at ScoCoH. Scott, my man. This guy is awesome on Twitter. They've got a lot of controllable starting pitching. So, yeah. Ryan, let's celebrate the trade with a chat and some Joe's Pizza. I am not eating pizza tonight, unfortunately. I'm not really in a pizza mood right now, but we'll get some pizza soon. How about that? If the Yankees can get Peralta for ERC Jones and like Rumfield for pitching depth, and the pitching depth would be amazing. Yeah, if they can get Peralta, it'd be great. If they get a frontline starter, it'd be awesome. I just don't see that happening. That's just me. Cashman always does 3 moves at the same time. Stay tuned. Maybe we see a flurry. It's a 2-month bridge. Yeah, it's a good point. We got some time. Yankees might go ahead. For the guys to come back. Yeah, there is a decent amount of time for guys to have to come back. It might sound crazy, but Yankees might go ahead and surprise with Tucker. I doubt that. Ryan, another starter to pitch where? Scranton. Maybe they trade one of their major league starters to add another one. Like, that's something I could see maybe, but we'll see. We'll see here. We'll see. Is he a starter or reliever? Is this because Heel or Warren trade for Peralta? Last question. What do we still need? Don't think this is to set up a trade of Warren for another starter. I think you could get another starter, but I don't see it happening. And then I'll also say this. I don't believe the Yankees I think if it sets anything up, it might set you up for a trade for a position player. Maybe. Put on your TV on NBC. SGA is playing. I will watch SGA hoops after this. Joe's on Carmine is the best pizza I've ever had. I'll try it. Super chat from Vinny Dice. I think Peralta would have costed more than your projections. Based on that deal, yeah, I agree. Probably cost more than that. Looking at that trade fucking sucks, dude. That trade would have been terrible for the Brewers. I'm sorry. That trade would have been awful for the Brewers. You can have all the controllable players you want. Doesn't matter if they're all garbage. I don't think they're all garbage. Is Rodon cooked? I don't think so. Challenge trade coming? Maybe. I don't like this move. Fair. I like it. You don't have to agree. And I don't have to, you don't have to agree with me because I could be very wrong about this. I've been very wrong in the past. I'm wrong a lot. It'd be cool to see what Blake and Co does with the guys who got this kind of fastball. We've seen versus the guys we've seen recently who's their best pitch is a secondary and overall mix. That's the other thing. I like a power fastball guy. Just power fastball, bro. Power fastball, man. That's my thing. Does this change your plan for the offseason in terms of who you want position player-wise? No. I still want them to add an outfielder. Wait a minute. Oh, Brendan. Okay, hold on. The New York Yankees, in their search to add more pitching depth, have acquired Ryan Weathers, blah, 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 blah. Hold on. We're skipping this part. I'm sorry. I love you, Kirshner. I love you, Cody. You guys fucking rock. Don't expect Weathers to halt the Yankees' search for a higher level starting pitching. Yes, I would love this. Please, 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 baby. Please, 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 please. Oh, my God, wait a minute. This could be huge because you could trade Warren or Heel now and go get a starting pitcher. You can trade one of these guys for a starting pitcher now. This changes everything. Hold on, baby. Hold on. Brendan Cody, Chris Kirshner, this is not going to halt their ability to add another starting pitcher. This is not going to halt their ability per Brendan Cody and Chris Kirshner of The Athletic. The Yankees are still in on Freddie Peralta and Mackenzie Gore. Oh, Cashman, get me right. I'm in pajamas, so I apologize. Hold on. Does this mean they could trade someone like Will Warren, Angelo? We're going to share the screen. We're sharing the screen. Fuck it. We're sharing the screen. Sorry. Apologies for the language. We're sharing the screen, fellas. Hold on, fellas. Hold on, because I'm going to be honest. I was like, they're not trading for a starting pitcher. I'm going to be honest. I did not believe they were going to trade for a starting pitcher. But if this is what ends up happening, this is a brilliant move. Because if you exchange one of Hill or Warren for Weathers, they're not getting Framber Valdez for $1. But JXV88, sorry. Thank you for donating for what that could be. Hold on. Make sure to close them tabs. I got no suspect tabs on here. It's only ball knowledge, my friends. It's only ball knowledge, my friends. It's only ball knowledge. And I'm only going to show the tweet because this is a paywalled article. So in respect to that, I am not going to do the disservice of showing a paywalled article. That's just not right. I'd have a really hard time doing that. This is the exact quote. Don't expect acquiring Weathers to halt the Yankees' search for a higher level starting pitcher. From Chris Kirshner and Brendan Cuddy, who, look, these guys are with The Athletic. And you could say it's yapping, it's this, it's that, they don't know what they're talking about, oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Vinny, I'm sorry about that. Let me pull that up. I really apologize, Vinny. Oh, I see it. Whole outcome of this, nope, that's way up. Hold on. When's the last time a move happened on Streamer Pod? podcast, okay, we once traded for Devin Williams while we were talking about a video, and that video never came out because we traded for Devin Williams. So Alex and I were recording a video, and we had to pause it, and then we went live after that. So that did happen. That did happen. And that is the only time this has ever happened. I've actually never had this happen. I have had situations where I've clocked out, and when I say clocked out, I've just like not been at my computer, and things happened. Like Alex Rodrigo got traded when I was not at my computer because I thought my day was done. I was like, they're not trading for Soto tonight. Just like left my computer, and then within like 5 minutes of me leaving my computer, they traded for Alex Rodrigo, so I had to sprint back to my room and stream. So there have been instances where it's happened on a podcast, but it's never happened on a live stream before. So yeah, and I don't see us trading for Joe Ryan. This is look, fellas. Put it back on the screen, baby. Put it back on the screen. Put it back on the screen. Cross off Dylan Lewis, but put it back on the screen. We're doing this. You know what, guys? We've been live for like an hour. Fuck it. We're doing the stream we were gonna do before Weathers got traded. If you're here, welcome to Fireside Yankees, the second part of the stream, baby. We're dialed. Freddie Peralta last year had a 2.70 ERA, a 3.64 FIP, a 28.2% strikeout rate, a 19.1% strikeout to walk rate, 3.6 wins above replacement. If the Yankees trade for Freddie Peralta, this would be the kind of move that puts your rotation alongside Weathers over the freaking top, baby. Over the freaking top. We're doing it live, Rocky. We're doing it live. I'm not going to lie. I really thought they were out on Peralta or Gore. But if they're still in on both of these guys, they've got a really good chance of landing one of them because they've got major league pitching depth. That is where this is where the move becomes better to me. This is where the move becomes better to me. And that is where I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited. Because if this is their mentality of we're going to go out, and this would be hilarious if nothing happens. I don't think anything's going to happen right now. Nothing's going to happen right now. Not going to happen right now. But if they can trade for another starter, if they trade for Freddie Peralta or Mackenzie Gore, it would be weird if they traded for Gore. It would be weird, right? It would be weird. Chat, do we agree it'd be weird if they traded for Mackenzie Gore and had 4 lefties to open the season in the rotation? That'd be weird. Or 3 lefties and then 4 when Rodon comes back. That would be weird. But this is how you build a roster, fellas. If they add 2 starting pitchers and sign Bellinger, I wouldn't even need a fucking reliever. Screw the reliever. Just go get the other starter. I wouldn't even prioritize reliever. I want a reliever. I want to clarify this. But screw the reliever, man. I really think if they were to flip Weathers, it would happen rather quickly, right? I don't think they're flipping Weathers. They're not trading Weathers. I think Weathers is a stay. Warren is a guy they could trade, though, because he's got 5 years of control. And if you trade Warren and you get him traded for Peralta, which you can now do because you can do this, Ryan Beck, I'm apologizing to you specifically. I'm freaking sorry, man. And everything Yanks, I agree. If this is true, which I have no reason to not believe Chris Kirshner and Brendan Cuddy. I have zero reason to not believe the freaking Athletic on this. If this happens, this is going to end up being a really fun offseason for the Yankees. And now you have it in your back pocket. You have a starting pitcher. So, yeah, we'll see. How many years of control would we have on Peralta? We'd have 1 year of control. These are our stats again from this past season. We'll see. We have zero reason to believe the Athletic. What? Hold on, guys. Why do we have zero reason to believe the Athletic? They reported all the Bellinger stuff first. These guys hashtag know ball and know the game. I'm not just saying that because I had Kirshner on. But I personally know that these guys know what they're talking about, man. They know what they're freaking fracking talking about. I'd rather they trade for McGill than Peralta. They need another high-leverage arm IMO. That's fair, but you can always turn a starter into a reliever. But you got to pick if Peralta walks. It's a part of it, Uncle Ted. You are getting a potential It's a 4th-round pick. I don't really care about a 4th-round pick that much. But it's a 4th-round pick. It doesn't matter. And you would not be giving up any of your draft picks in this class. And you would be gaining a draft pick for next class. And if you lose him, then you just give up those draft picks that you would have gotten for Peralta. Like, there's a lot of fun here that if you trade for Peralta in terms of like asset management on the pick side of things. Owen, you missed the fact that The Athletic has reported that the Yankees are not halting their pursuit for an upper-level starting pitcher like a Freddie Peralta or Mackenzie Gore. Which means the Yankees are positioned with their major league pitching depth to potentially turn one of these guys into a plus starting pitcher for you. I think this is a big win for the Yankees potentially. This could be a big, especially if you get Bellinger back. You can trade some guys. Brian Bash is the new Yankee King. I'll buy you a Mercedes. My album posts up this summer if you block him. I have a no block policy. I try not to, unless you like say something like racist or whatever. Then yeah, I block people who like say things racist. That is different, or like sexist, discriminatory. Like that's just, we don't want that on this channel. We accept all people from all walks of life on Fireside Yankees here. We love all Yankee fans, except for like a-holes, I guess. But I don't block for opinions on baseball, even if I don't agree with them. Because if I killed myself for every opinion I had that was wrong, I have some rough ones. Jordan's AAV jump. No, they're not going to trade Jordan. Let's not get crazy. I'm getting crazy, but let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy. Let's not get too crazy. I'll get a little crazy. John Gerbino puts, I run Gerbil Sports, which is pretty popular on my fantasy baseball stuff. I get up to 30,000 views on my waiver wire blog. That's pretty cool, man. I've written by Weathers a few times. Hey, man, if you want to send a link, DM me on at Ryan Garcia ESM. I'd love to check out an article and share it with the chat here. I don't see why you trade for Weathers then trade Warren, to be honest. To be honest, I understand what you're saying, AJ. On the surface, yes. But then you look at what these guys would provide you. Warren, being able to trade one for starter means you've got, okay, sorry, losing my train of thought here. You've got 6 guys who can start for you in the rotation. Right now, Elmer is depth. He could be your SP7. And I don't think Blackburn should be considered your SP8, but he's your SP7. You can always sign a minor league guy to be your SP8, like a guy who isn't very good, like a Carrasco type. Then if you swap Warren for a better pitcher, essentially, you are upgrading your rotation. And I personally would prefer Luis Gil get traded here because I think Luis Gil is the worst pitcher of the two. And swapping out 3 years of Luis Gil for 3 years of Ryan Weathers, it is essentially trading injury risk, high upside starters, and I think Weathers has more upside than Gil. I also think Weathers has more upside than Warren. It depends on what you could do. It's not a guarantee that the Yankees are going to trade for another starter. This is not a guarantee, man. This is the furthest thing from a guarantee. But if you end up doing this, if you end up getting this done, if you end up adding a starting pitcher of significant note, and we'll see. We'll see if they can do it, but if they do, oh baby, this could be a freaking good rotation, man. And that is why I'm excited about this potentially, because now you can put together potentially one of like the 2, 3 best rotations in baseball. Because I think Weathers has more upside than Warren or Gil. I would prefer to trade Gil instead of Warren because I like Warren. I loved Warren as a prospect, and I like what Warren could become next year. I think he's the prototypical kind of guy they can do. And Zachary, yes, the good part is we do not physically have to get a starting pitcher, but it would really help. Yes, they do not have to do something crazy to get a starter, but they can remain in on these things, and I believe they have the pieces that teams like the Nationals or the Brewers would want. You know, I can't even, like the Nationals, they don't really need outfield support, so I don't think that's a Dominguez-Jones conversation or even a Dylan Lewis conversation. They needed pitching, and you've got pitching, so we'll see. Everything Yanks. I think you're debating with somebody else in there. So I'm gonna just like, you're my boy. I'm gonna assume you're doing good in there. The sweeper is absolutely disgusting, perplexes righties, and he really F's up umpires. The pitch that can be framed, which works really well with Wells. That's the other thing. We've got a better framing room than the Marlins do. So I do think that's part of like very niche, very minor, like granular, marginal things that I care about. If the Yankees trade for Freddie or sign Cody Bellinger on my birthday when I'm going out of town, January 18th, I will be ecstatic. First off, happy early birthday. And if they do those two things, the Yankees are like, that is an offseason where like, yeah, the Blue Jays, like, you could probably be better than the Blue Jays. And I'm going to sit back and go, hey, like, this was a really productive offseason for you. But we've got to see them deliver. Now it's delivering time. Now it's time to cook. Because if we don't cook, right, we're not cooking up anything. If nothing comes out of this, I don't really, I got nothing good to say, right? Something's got to come out of this. Now it's time to make things happen. Now it's time for shit to go down. It's time for things to happen. We finally have a move, but we'll see. Yankees could get Doyle for pennies. I would like a fourth outfielder type who's right-handed if they trade Dominguez. Not sure who that would be, but yeah. Yeah. I'm excited, dog. I'm excited, man. And the trade's official because the Yankees tweeted out the graphics, so yeah. Oh, okay. Now I was just floating the idea of Jones and Moore for Peralta instead of Heel or Warren. I totally hear you. I mean, I would do that deal. And the Yankees, I think, would be crazy to not be willing to trade Spencer Jones for Freddie Peralta or even Mackenzie Gore. Like, I get it, they're rentals. Peralta's a rental. I don't give a shit. Now, for Mackenzie Gore, I know people don't love Mackenzie Gore, and I've got to say, like, definitely not as high on this as I would have been without adding a lefty. Like, there is a little bit of, you're going to have 4 lefties, right? Like, that's part of this. That's part of this. But the stuff is there. Like, if this guy's another starter for you, you're better than you would be without him. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I like Mackenzie Gore, and I'm not gonna pretend I don't. I think he's like a healthier. He's like he is like if you had a healthy Ryan Weathers, essentially. I think Mackenzie Gore is good. I think Mackenzie Gore is a good player. And he's cheaper than Peralta financially, so like there's a little bit of benefit there where you're getting an extra year of control. He's cheaper, things of that nature, right? Like there's some positives that come with it. That you open up like $4 million in projected salary. Could you maybe turn that into an Austin Hayes, like something of that nature? So yeah. SP handedness in rotation does not matter at all. For sure. I agree. I'm just saying, like, that could be a little weird. This is a little weird. I don't know. 4 lefties, a little weird. It's a little weird. 3 lefties, I don't care about 3 lefties. That's bullshit to me. I guess, because if you're willing to have 5 righties, why can't you have 4 lefties? Am I being, like, handedist? Discriminatory against lefties? I'm a righty, so I do. I like righties because I'm a righty, like pitching-wise. But I think lefties are cool, too. I actually think lefty hitters are cooler than righty hitters. That's just, like, not even a Yankee fan. Short porch thing. Let's see. Sorry, trying to pick up this baseball. Thoughts on the second half drop-off stuff with Gore? I think that is a real concern, too. Like, he does run into a wall every single second half. And I think when we look at, like, the Yankees pitching staff, that matters. Like, this has to freaking matter, man. This has to matter. This can't not be part of the conversation, dude. Again, it's, with Gore, you can't ignore these things. You can't ignore, like, with Weathers, his injury risk. If you're ignoring these things, you're just kind of being, like, at that point, you're not being an analyst or trying to be objective. You're just spewing bullshit. It's kind of like being negative just for the sake of being negative, right? Being positive for the sake of just being positive is nonsense, but that's not here nor there. Let's see. This offseason could be an A, but not an A+, unless surprise star trade or Tucker signing. I agree. I think, like, it's hard. I mean, I'm a pretty harsh grader in the sense of, like, Peralta's the starter that would push this to an A+. Like, if they got Gore and – if they had gotten Gore and Weathers to their rotation, I wouldn't be telling you it's an A on top of Bellinger and like a reliever. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, that's an A. Like I'd be like, oh, that's a B plus, B plus. I'd go B plus, because you didn't add Tucker, and that's got to be part of it. You can't like ignore the fact that they did not add Kyle Tucker in an offseason where they should have added Kyle Tucker. And I understand like the high AV stuff, I get it, but like you could have definitely offered up a like why couldn't you have offered up like a 10-year, $300 million contract, right? Like that's part of it. Anywho, I don't hate. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to poo-poo on some things and like I'm not trying to be too optimistic or pessimistic about these things. I'm just saying like, I don't know. I think that an A for me, I keep a high grade for an A, right? I gotta keep the A for like a great off season. Weathers handled lefties 1.23 whip and righties 1.29 whip. Guy who's capable of posting reverse splits. Yeah, I think the cool thing is by being a changeup guy, he's not bound to being a complete liability against righties. Like that's part of this too. He's got a really good changeup. Good changeup guys are guys I like. If Weathers is healthy, he's a solid 4.5. If he hurt, we drain the farm for an injury-prone player. Well, even if he's not hurt, we did drain the farm for an injury-prone player. Like, I don't know if we drained the farm. We traded some solid prospects. Like, Dylan Lewis is good. I like Brennan Jones. I like Juan Matthews. He's pretty solid. Dylan Hasso's fun. Like, they traded, like, notable prospects for sure. But even if he's healthy, it still would have been for an injury-prone guy. And this is kind of, like, where I think I can try and stay level, where it's I'm not going to tell you that this wasn't a risky trade just because it works. Right? Yeah. So, yeah, that's part of that. Anywho, again, I'm curious to see what the Yankees do. I think that they should, if they can trade for a Freddie Peralta type, and, again, look at these numbers, man. That'd be sick. But I think another important thing to talk about, bringing back Cody Bellinger. The Yankees, the latest on Cody Bellinger, and it's funny because all of these things are still true, but I guess we don't have this was made before the show started, so we'll go over some of the other rumors in Yankee land before this stream began. Official offer to Bellinger is 5 years, $155. They're willing to include a signing bonus and a player option. Yankees Brewers held recent talks about Freddie Peralta. Chris Kirshner mentioned on the Yankee Stadium podcast, the Fireside Yankees podcast, that they've had talks as recently as the last few days. And Mackenzie Gore's market is heating up. That's according to John Morosi. Nationals have been engaged in talks with teams for the last 24 hours. Now, Bellinger coming back is an important piece to this because if you don't acquire Bellinger, your offense is weak against lefties or weaker against lefties, and your offense is left without a guy. Like there's a thing that you're losing. There's a thing that you're losing. That without getting Kyle Tucker, which you're not going to do, is important. Now, Bellinger this past season was a good player. Projections believe that Bellinger is going to be a 120 OPS plus player if he comes back to Yankee Stadium, most likely. This past season, 125 OPS plus, 813 OPS, 29 home runs, 98 RBIs, plus 12 defensive runs saved, 4.9 wins above replacement. He was really good this past season for the Yankees. Don't know if he'll be worth $31 million a year, but yeah. And Pixelmon, for that player option, it would be an opt-out. I'm sorry. I should have clarified. It's an opt-out, Pixelmon. So it would be like a 5-year deal. Let me drink some water, guys. I'm sorry. This would be a 5-year deal in this outcome where he gets a signing bonus and a player option to opt out of the contract. So essentially, he could leave he can break off this contract after 2 years. That is very valuable to free agents because these kinds of things improve the overall value of the contract. If the player performs well, they can get more money over the same period of time. If they don't, and that's part of this. So, yeah. John Bloom goes, "What's up, chat? What's up, man? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well." So yeah, hope you're doing well. Let's see. What else did I want to mention? Oh, right. When it comes to Bellinger, sorry, John's one of my guys. Want to say what's up. Oh, let me do something real quick. Ryan Beck, hold on. Ryan, I gotta do you a favor, big dog. Gotta do you a favor, big dog. My guy. Hold on. Anywho, as we look at Cody Bellinger and what he did last year, again, he was very strong. He was a very strong pitcher, hitter this past season, and was a good defender. And the lineup with him is just more complete. Against righties, you've got Grisham, Judge, Rice, Stanton, Bellinger, Jazz. That's how I would align it. Caballero to break up the lefties. Not a great option to break up lefties, but you don't have a good shortstop room. That's just where you're at. Wells, McMahon are pretty solid against righties, so I wouldn't be at all worried about that. I guess because Bellinger's good against lefties, you could just put Wells one spot up and Caballero one spot down. Like I guess you could just do that. I didn't consider that. I'm a little stupid. It's okay. Against lefties, Rice, Judge, Bellinger, Stanton, Chisholm, Rosario all performed above average, if not really good against left-handed pitching. Grisham, not good against lefties. Caballero, good against lefties. Wells, not good against lefties. So you would have two below-average guys against lefties. You would have Chisholm and Rice I describe as like slightly above average. Judge, Bellinger, Stanton, Rosario, Caballero, I would establish as firmly below average to varying degrees. Obviously, you cannot put Judge in the same conversation as freaking Jose Caballero, even though Caballero does well against lefties. So, yeah. Shut me down a few weeks ago, but screw it. Overpay for Bader and go from there. Boris is annoying. I don't want to trade. I don't want to sign Bader. I can't lie. He's a reverse splits guy. I get it. And you know, that bothers me a little bit. I don't think he's like a great fit for the roster, but man, they got to do something. Like Bloom, I'm kind of at the point where, yeah, man, Boris is being ridiculous. Like you've got to, and you can't strike out in the outfield market. I would suggest a trade for Luis Robert Jr. So that's where I'm at. But this kind of lineup, I think, works really well for what you're trying to do as a team, which is, you know, you're trying to put together like a pretty good lineup. I think this is a pretty good lineup. But yeah, Wells was a reverse splits guy, but the underlying metrics were not good. So I think he's good against righties. He's better against righties than he is against lefties. Brandon Doyle I also kind of like for like the fourth outfield role, but I will say I don't believe that he's going to get traded. That seems to be the reporting that came out on the national side. I guess again you could argue like, hey, you can't say he's going to get he's not going to get traded. You don't know that. All it takes is one phone call. Like that is a fair point. I don't want to ignore that talking point in this conversation, but I ultimately believe he does not get traded. Any shot for a Kwan trade? I don't think the Yankees trade for Steven Kwan, and I prefer to just sign Bellinger at that point. As John points out here, Kwan had a steep regression in his sprint speeds. You're going to have to pay a lot for him, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Why would I lead off Rice against lefties? That's a good point. I'm not going to lie. This lineup, like, guys, chat, this was a horrible job by me. I hit Bellinger 5th and then put Chisholm 6th and Caballero 7th, not realizing that Bellinger's a reverse splits guy, so you don't have to worry about stacking three lefties together there. You can treat Bellinger as a righty. I only put Rice lead off because I wouldn't lead off Bellinger, and I think Rice, like his OPS was like 750 against lefties, and he's a very aggressive hitter, and I think that works for what you would be doing with the guy in front of Judge, where like this guy's going to get a lot of pitches in the middle of the zone or in the zone, and I think Rice is a good match for that, but that is a little stupid. I can't lie. I just don't know who I would lead off. I wouldn't lead off Grisham over Rice against lefties. I wouldn't lead off Bellinger against lefties. I wouldn't lead off Rosario against lefties or Caballero, and this is where like I would like them to acquire a fourth outfielder who is like an Austin Hayes type, because you could lead him off potentially against lefties, but sorry, I wasn't in my bag with this. I was not in my bag with that. Look at Weather's senior year stats. They're insane. Yeah, it's like a 0.09 ERA. Like, he's fucking nuts in the post in high school. That guy was crazy in high school. Yeah, look, Rice against lefties is more high slug. John, not as much. He does take his walks, but against lefties, he does struggle with that a little bit. I just think, again, like, I didn't really put too much thought into, like, who leads off. I just don't think they have a good leadoff option against lefties. So pick your poison there. How do we all feel about Wells next year? Says John Bloom. Step forward or step backwards? Me personally, I think he ends up being a step forwards guy. I think he ends up being a 100 OPS plus guy who remains as good as he is defensively, which is a step forward. It's not a massive step forward. You're not going to be writing articles about how this guy is a future Hall of Famer, but I think he's a good player. I think all he is a good player, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, yeah. Yankee Caballero also had a good OBP, and that's a good point. You could lead him off, but I'm not entirely sure that happens where, like, he gets the lead off. So, yeah. This is why they need a leadoff hitter, not a 235 hitter. I think on base just matters more for me with the leadoff spot. I hate to be, like, Mr. Moneyball in terms of, like, that seems like a very, like, douchebaggy. Like, I think the Moneyball movie did bring a couple, like, douchebaggy, like, mentalities to how people talk about baseball. But I do think on base percentage matters a little bit more. Not a little bit, considerably more. And you can hit 240 if you got a 340 on base. I don't care. Could Belly lead off against lefties? He chases a good bit. I think he's just better as a middle of the order guy. Like, I'd prefer him hitting behind Judge because he's such a good hitter against lefties. I guess I would, like, maybe lead Judge off against lefties. I don't know. I think that, again, this is a spot where you'd like to bring in a right-handed bat who can play either catcher or center or left field. You can play him in center field because Bellinger can play center field against lefties. Not in on Tucker, not in on the championship. Christian, I think it's fair to say, like, hey, man, that isn't the kind of mentality you should have if you're trying to win a championship. I think there's an argument to be made for that. Uncle Ted says the Twins are the real Moneyball team. Yeah, because Moneyball, like, a core principle of Moneyball is being cheap. I don't think a team should try and be cheap. Here, allow the newest best singing moderator to say it for you. Batting average is for stupid old people. I wouldn't say it's for stupid old people, but I don't value it that much. 2-6 and need hitters. Yeah, that's kind of where maybe, like, dude, maybe Caballero should lead off against lefties because he can run well and he gets on base. All I'm saying is James McCann was a 123 WRC plus with 50 plate appearances versus lefties last year, and all I'll tell you is that he's already signed a contract with somebody. I just forget where he went, but he's not a free agent. Ryan Jeffers, cough, cough. I would love Ryan Jeffers on the Yanks. I'd love Ryan Jeffers on the Yanks. Like and subscribe, support the GOAT at Fireside Yankees. Appreciate you, dog. I appreciate you, dog. And yeah, like and subscribe. Can we get to 200 likes? We're at 194. Can you push me to 200, guys? Really appreciate that. Rio Muto, I don't believe they're going to get Rio Muto. He's a starting catcher, and he's going to get paid like a starting catcher. I'm ready for tonight or tomorrow. For Peralta and Bellinger go to Yankees. I would hope that happens. I don't think it's going to happen. So, yeah. Dominguez versus right-handed pitching and Caballero versus left-handed pitching as the team sits right now. And I think Caballero can get reps against lefties in the outfield. Depends on how you view him as a guy that can play the outfield. So, yeah. Ryan Jeffers on the Yankees is what you should say. Es muy bueno. I don't know why, but Jose Sariano seems like a random pitcher the Yankees, Brian Cashman, would trade for. Just two. Like, the Angels are stupid, but he's so much better than what they have. So, yeah. Does Higgy have anything in the tank? Probably not. Probably not. I really think we see Heel, LaGrange, Rumfield for Peralta. I don't think. That's interesting. I think the Brewers would say yes to LaGrange plus Heel for Peralta. I don't know if the Yankees would trade Heel plus LaGrange for Peralta. That's not sourced. That's just a guess. I'm just taking a guess. Just like top of my head. What do I think? And that's what I think. Top of my head. Martian sucks so bad at defense. It's a shame because he's such a talented hitter. I think he's a pretty talented bat and a good runner. Jose Siriano's an extreme ground ball pitcher. He drives us crazy with our infielders. I mean, with McMahon and Jazz, I feel good about that. I think shortstop they'll be fine defensively because if Volpe doesn't get back to where he was in 23, 24, then you could just put Caballero there, and then at first, like, Rice is really the guy who I have the most question marks about among starters defensively. Not counting Jason Dominguez, but I think Bellinger's coming back. Cubs seem pretty legit on paper. Pretty good team, man. Pretty freaking good team. Jonah Heim looks like the Yankees move. If he's cheap, screw it. So aging will help him get better at defense. I don't think I said that, but if I said that, that's not the argument I'm trying to make, my man. I apologize if that's the argument I wanted to make. Rumfield's really good. I don't know if I'd say really good. I hate to do this. I really do. the issue is he just doesn't hit the ball really hard. He's a tall guy, but doesn't hit the ball really hard. So, yeah. Caballero versus lefties, 352 OBP lifetime. He's your leadoff guy versus lefties. Screw it, man. Screw it. Cabby shit the bed in right field is one shot out there. Yeah, but, like, Aaron Judge dropped the fly ball in the outfield. Wouldn't say that Aaron Judge can't catch fly balls, man. Just not gonna say that. Yeah. Rufford's a pretty damn good defender. That is a plus for him. And he is, like, very Brewer-ish, where he's, like, a contact-hitting first baseman. Like, that's so Brewers. That's so freaking Brewers. And he did have 156 hits. That is a thing he did have. We're going to probably start wrapping in the next, 10 minutes because we're almost 2 hours into this. And you guys have been awesome. Like, you guys are awesome. You guys are the best. You guys are the best on the planet. I freaking love you guys because you guys have just been so supportive this year. To start the year, you guys have just been killing it with the support. I can't even tell you guys how happy I am to be able to talk to so many people and hear the chat just popping, man. Like, I look away for 2 seconds. I can't even find the message I was reading. That's awesome, man. That makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. It makes me really happy, man. I really love you guys. I really love you guys. I really do. So you guys are the best. Rumfield's we talked about Rumfield. He does have a minor league Gold Glove. Martin Maldonado retired. Flop, I think you're just picking guys who aren't available. I'm sorry, man, but he retired. I'm sorry, dude. I apologize. John Bloom, chat, who has a better career, Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones? John, let's make that a poll. Let's make that the final poll. We're going to make this a poll. I like this poll. Let's do it. All right. Let's see. Vivas seems like a Brewer. I mean, he's got no options, so minor league options, so that's not great for him. I want to hear your rap. I can't rap, dude. I got no bars. I've got no bars. So I got no bars. I got no sauce. I got no drip. I got nothing going on. Kudos to Ryan for not prospect hugging. I will always say this. I like breaking down prospects and talking about them. There is a 0% chance that you can make your team better without either paying more than you want to financially or paying more than you want to trade prospect-wise. Just a fact. Sorry to say it. With Arenado move, do they let Donovan go? Sorry, guys, about that. I'm really, my throat's so shot. I don't think the Yankees are trading for Donovan. I think he'll go to the Giants. Ryan, tell me if I'm right. Did the Yankees get Weathers to replace a Warren or Heel if we have to conclude them in a Peralta trade? I think he got them. They got Ryan Weathers to make their rotation better. They like the upside, and they want to make their rotation better. I'm sure it doesn't hurt that they could go out and add another starter and not kill their farm system. I'm sure it doesn't hurt that they can trade for a starter more freely from their major league depth. I'm sure there are things that don't hurt about this trade for that. So I'm not going to say they did this to trade for another starter, but I do believe they made this trade to give them security that they can go out there and negotiate for starting pitching trade and not have to be forced to make a deal. I do think this helps their odds of making a deal for like a Freddie Peralta. Gives them more security in that regard. They wouldn't run Cabby in front of Judge. That'd be a waste. Fair point. Oh, God, man, I didn't think about that sports talk. Yeah, I'm like, shit. Yeah, they can't really. They're not gonna like force. You're not gonna force Caballero to steal bases while Judge is at the plate. Glad we have something to find and talk about. I agree, L Train. Who's the better outfielder? Caballero, Oswaldo. I think Caballero, better runner, just a better athlete. And I think Cabrera, but I also think Caballero's the better shortstop too defensively. So Ryan, I think there's a little bit of a conflict of interest. Right? I just think Caballero's the better player. I can't lie, but that's not here nor there. Let's see. I abstain from the vote because I think they'll both have great careers. Brian Bashman, totally fair. Jones is a James Wood guy, in my opinion. I just think he doesn't have like the outlier. He has the outlier power. He doesn't have like the contact rate improvement that Wood has had. Dominguez got the youth and decent play under his belt already. Totally fair. Gotta go with my man Jones. Better upside if you want to make that argument. Don't apologize, man. You've been talking for 2 hours. Appreciate that. I don't like sympathy, but I appreciate it. Fine last shot. Trade for Freddie Freeman, who's had a 46 WRC plus against lefties. Flob, he's at least, that is more likely than the other two options you mentioned, so I'll give you the win there. Speaking of prospects, we do need to talk about Ben Hess. His off-speed and breaking stuff is fantastic. Really close on the fastball, just needs to add 1 to 2 miles per hour. I agree, his stuff is really good. I like Ben Hess. He's like a potential top 100 starting pitcher, depending on how he performs in the first half of the season, and if he can get to AAA pretty quickly. Ryan, you got no flow. Let's hear your spit, brother. I've got nothing. I would disrespect the art of rap and hip-hop if I were to rap right now. Jason just has the discipline and power already. Totally fair. Weathers Dow's the Yankee. Yep. John Bloom, Oswaldo Cabrera's role, if there are no injuries, is unclear. We have Jose and Volpe will be back eventually. True, but there's always injuries. And I do wonder if you can play him against right-handed pitching because in 24 specifically, he was pretty good against righties. I think he was a 108 WRC plus guy. I wonder if you could maybe do something like that. Cashman's a very patient, smart GM. Like it or not, I agree. He's a good GM. I like him. I like Brian Cashman. I've definitely spent my later teenage years being an idiot about Brian Cashman, I thought, or at least what I would consider to be being very unfair to Brian Cashman. I think he's a good GM. I think he's good at his job. I think Hess could step in and be a 4 ERA, 1.25 whip is what I imagine guy with more velocity. He's elite. I don't think he'd do that immediately. I don't think he has the command. I don't think he has the feel for a breaking ball with good lateral movement just yet, but I do think he could do it by midseason. Thatcher Hurd and Chase Hampton will fly into the picture next year. If Hampton is healthy and his stuff is where it was pre-surgery, yes, he could be a big leaguer very quickly. Besides the 3-home run game, Jason didn't really hit that much. Fair, but that 3-home run game did happen. You're basing that on his rookie year. Check out Bernie Williams' rookie year. I think that it's unfair to compare him to Bernie, but Bernie, like it's fair to say, like Bernie, it is important to note that like really good players have had not great age 22 seasons. Sign the free agent left fielder whose name I forget, Tucker or Bellinger. Jones was a pitcher a couple years ago. Spencer's going to surprise some people. Freak of nature. That's a good point. He doesn't have a lot of hitting experience at the collegiate and minor league level. The home run off Verlander, Jason's first at bat, was awesome looking back. That was so hype. Who's more realistic, Gore or Peralta? I'm not sure. Some people say Peralta. Some people say Gore. Volpe will take longer than we think. I agree. I hate that Dominguez getting TJ changed everything for him. I agree. His bat speed was stupid in 23. He still has good bat speed. It's just a tick lower. Late to the stream tonight, Ryan Weathers can't possibly be the starting pitcher we've waited for. There has to be more nice depth piece, but that's it. Maybe there is more. Apparently, this does not stop them from trying to get another starter. Sign Bo. Figure it out later. I don't think they're going to sign Bo, and I think that has to do because they're going to acquire Bellinger. So, yeah. Volpe should stay in AAA. I don't agree. Yeah, I'm going to start wrapping things here, though. We really appreciate your guys' support here on the Fireside Yankees page. If you're here and you are subscribed, thank you. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do that. Again, I really appreciate your guys' support. You guys have been so awesome. Again, the support you guys have provided means the world to me. And I really hope that you guys understand how much it means to me. Tonight's going to be about grinding. Tonight's going to be about grinding to get you guys that next piece of content on Weathers, which will be early tomorrow morning. You're going to get a lot of content. I'll answer the final few questions here. Tucker getting $50 million a year is really bad for baseball, worse than Soto and Ohtani. No, because he's on a 3-year deal. That's the speculation. I don't think that's that bad for him. What does Washington want back for Gore? I don't know, but I imagine pitching, just because they don't really have a lot of pitching. Based on the stream a bit, but reckless speculations, Weathers the next Scooble. Don't kill me for this take. Scooble's the 99th percentile outcome for like 25 to 26-year-old starting pitchers who don't perform very well in their younger careers but show upside and are oft injured. I think it's way better to like say, hey, could this guy be Jesus Luzardo or Mackenzie Gore? I think that's a much more apt comparison or realistic in terms of like having excitement for this guy but not putting insane expectations. If Dominguez is Kurtz, I'll take it. Reminder, he did that in Houston, not in – did he do that in – he might have done that in Oakland, Sacramento as well, but I believe he hit the 4-home run game in Houston. Peralta seems to have a little more smoke, and the word on the street was the Brewers want to heal, so Weathers would replace him in the rotation. If they really want heal, send it, man. Honestly, frustrates the hell out of me that we're not in on Tucker. Short-term deal, high AAV with opt-outs. I agree. Sign Austin Hayes. I want him even if we get Bellinger. Can we switch jobs? I love my job more than anything in the world, John. I apologize. I wouldn't trade this job for any job in the world outside of a job where, like, I get to do this more, I guess. Better mention Weathers here on the analysis. I will. Plus, you keep putting out content. We appreciate you. Thank you, Sonny Boy. Appreciate it, man. Are we going to have a meeting with Bichette? Probably not. Only Scooble is Scooble. Agree. I love both kids, Dominguez and Jones. Yeah, that's fair. We'll end on this note. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell to get updates on Fireside Yankees and when we're uploading next. Check out our social media pages, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and, of course, this YouTube page. We appreciate you guys so much. I love you guys. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go, Yankees!